Hi everyone. So we've got a slightly different format this week. This week's special guest is Sonia Pope, and she'll be filming up in our Auckland studio while I'm in Taranaki. And Sonia is an educational psychologist as well as a very well-known advocate for our Pasifika youth. Welcome, Sonia. Nice to see you.
Malalele, Lisina.
So before we get into answering our Q&As, I wondered if you could introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do.
I am full Tongan with a speck of Niue. So I come from the villages of Golo Ha'apai, Tonganeleka Ha'apai, as well as Holonga Vava'u and Alofi North. And you're right, I am an educational psychologist. So a little bit of what I do is I help children find their learning style. I help them with their behavior so that they can find things like school fun.
Thank you and welcome. You know, it's really awesome that you're able to join the Let's Talanoa team to help our Pacific youth to navigate some very tough conversations, as well as help us answer some of the hard questions they've asked us. But let's start with the first one, shall we? So if someone is on the fence about getting vaccinated, how would you help them to think through their decision?
I think that that's a really important question because for a lot of our young people, the answer to get vaccinated is not a clear 100% yes or a clear 100% no. A lot of our young people sit on the fence and they're confused about what to do and how to proceed next. So then from that, we need to shift our focus more on the journey and focus on the journey of these young people and the information they're gathering that pushes them to answer, yes, I want to be 100% vaccinated or not. So I guess in saying that, the first important thing that we need to remember is to separate the fact from feelings. So if you think about feelings, we feel feelings such as feeling angry, joyful, feeling frustrated, annoyed. And those feelings can actually cloud our judgment of making rational decisions. So for us to make rational decisions about the vaccinations, we need to separate fact from feeling. For example, if you came to me and said, look, Sonia, I had a dream that a lion was chasing me. And I were to ask you, well, how would you feel or what did you feel when that lion was chasing you? What would you say?
Well, I suppose I'd feel scared if a lion was chasing me.
Exactly. So that you are feeling fear. And so that feeling of fear clouds your judgment and your ability to make any other decisions because all you're focused on is escape from this lion. Now, if I were to ask you, okay, so tell me one fact about this scenario, what would you say?
Well, I guess a fact would be that it was only just a dream.
Yeah, exactly. And that's fact. And what relief you would have felt knowing that it was just a dream and it wasn't actually true. So this is what happens when we separate fact from feeling. We're able to create a safe space for us to make rational and logical decisions, which is really important when coming to making decisions about the vaccination.
So let's add to that generational differences, right? So often parents can be quick to make decisions and then expect kids to be the same, or they just tell them what to do and expect them to do it. But how realistic is that?
It's actually really unrealistic because expecting our young people and our children to think like adults is almost near impossible. Our young adults and our parents have different life stages and there are different life developments to be able to make those kind of decisions. So it's quite natural for our young people to take longer when it comes to decision making because they're still learning in life and they're still gathering those life experiences. To where our parents, on the other hand, they've gathered much more life experience and they've become much more mature from those life experiences. And that's why they're able to make a quicker and more informed decision. I think that that's why it's really important that we give up space for our children and our young people to talk and a space that helps make parents listen to their children. I think it's really important to have a space where parents listen to their children, which I know could be really difficult because of all the cultural values that's attached to that. And, children may feel uncomfortable talking to their parents because of that power dynamic in our culture.
Yeah, okay, so let's go there, shall we? Let's add on top of all of that, especially what it means to be Pasifika, because our culture and our upbringing can impact the way we have conversations or even whether we have them at all. And our parents and our grandparents, they sacrificed a lot to give us what we have. And and we have respect for them, and we don't want to rock the boat by starting these conversations that may lead to disagreements, and these conversations may be perceived as being disrespectful. But I know of many young people who've said they've just chosen to shut down or not talk to their parents at all because they don't want to cause any offence. And I'm not even sure that their parents know that their kids are making these decisions, to put their parents' feelings first. And that seems quite stressful.
I think it's really important to understand that the reasons for getting our vaccinations is going to be different for young people, for parents, and their grandparents. So it's really important to make aware of not only the intergenerational differences, but it's important to understand where everybody is coming from to ensure that everyone's on the same page to making that informed decision around vaccination. Now, I know that could be really hard because naturally in our culture, as young children and as young adults, we are taught to be compliant to our parents, to listen to our parents, do not talk back, do not question. However, growing up in a New Zealand Western society, we are taught to challenge each other, challenge each other's thoughts, even if it means to challenge a person of authority. And this makes it really difficult to be able to bring those skills back to your home because they can act as barriers to creating that rich, meaningful conversation inside your home with your family.
Yeah, because there are heightened emotions with COVID at the moment, aren't there? With people being so passionate about their feelings and also fearful, I guess, of the safety of their family. What are some of the things that we can do to help here?
That's a really good question. And one thing that I would really stress is creating a safe space at home where you can create a safe dialogue of Talanoa between you and your families. So this means coming to a space where there's mutual power, there's no confrontation, everyone feels safe, everyone feels they have a voice, everyone is respected, as well as everyone coming from those conversations feeling reassured. But more importantly, we need to demonstrate to our families the process of decision making, but with practical strategies that show them how to carry out this process in their home.
So you mean strategies on how to have a constructive conversation? Because what would they be?
So those strategies will include things like coming together for a family time, coming together for a Talanoa, ensuring the space is non-confrontational, there's no judgments there, but ensuring that our young people have a voice and that they feel safe. Ensuring that everyone feels reassured, but most importantly, that you state the fact to your family, but also allow your feelings to help you explain and get your point across. So let fact be in your reason, but let feelings guide you there.
Right. So if family time isn't a set space in some houses, are there any other opportunities to talk? Because I know that there are instances where our young people have to help our elders in some of these COVID spaces. I mean, using technology, for example, our young ones often have to help put apps on their parents' and grandparents' phones and help them to learn how to use them, like the COVID Tracer app, for example. But now I'm assuming with the vaccine pass, it'll be the same?
Exactly. And that's the great thing about having a positive Talanoa space, because when we're coming together with no power or there is no dominant person in the conversation, we come together and we get to learn things from each other. The coolest thing is that young people can show our grandparents or parents how to request a paper pass or download the QR code on their phones and show them how to use it. And this is great for our family to be able to come together and work together and help keep each other accountable. So young people, when working with their parents and vice versa, can remind each other to bring your QR codes every time you go to the shop, to the hairdressers, or even church. And so this is a great way for our families to work together, especially in this new concept that we're living in with the COVID-19 vaccinations.
So one of the other things that young people have told us is how everything at the moment feels so polarized. You're either pro or you're anti, and there's sort of no in between. And if you are in between, you don't feel comfortable saying it in case someone, comes for you.
So there's very rigid terminology out there at the moment. This idea that if you are not yet vaccinated, you're automatically categorized into the anti-vax group. Yet there are young people and students out there who generally are on the fence and they generally feel confused on what to do next. Yet there isn't actually a name we can call them. Maybe we need a name for them.
What about pro-Talanoa?
Or how about open Talanoa? Because open Talanoa means that our young people are open to the journey of deciding what's best for them.
Okay, so pro-open Talanoa. All right, so we've spoken about trying to find or create a safe space to have the Talanoa. But what if there isn't a safe space? What if someone simply doesn't have the same opinion as their family or, is feeling pressured? Because that can be pretty hard.
A lot of our young people are feeling torn at the moment. But the thing is nobody has really shown them what to do and how to move forward. So a lot of their feelings is not only confusion, but they may feel isolated with this as well. And so they need practical strategies to help make them make the informed decision.
Sure. So what does that look like?
The process of being well-informed includes research. But a lot of the times we hear things, but what is right research? What is wrong research? Or how do we know if it's true or false? And so once you've done your research and you can support yourself and articulately and clearly defend your stance, then you're at a right place to be able to make that well-informed decision. However, if you're not in that stance and you're basing your opinions based on things you've seen on Facebook or Instagram, then you are not in a space where you can make a well-informed decision.
Yeah, well, we have some upcoming episodes talking about, how to spot misinformation and conspiracy theories online. Because, yes, you're right, there's a lot of information out there. And we'll also have a list of trusted sources right at the end of this presentation. But so, Sonia, there's a lot of talk about how the vaccine will allow increased freedoms and about how life is going to go back to normal.
Yes, you're totally right. There is an ongoing process of resetting those expectations of what life might look like. And in all honesty, what we have known to be normal is quite a while away. So it's really important for us to come together and create a better future for us each day. But actually, one of the things that I really want to talk about is this notion of grieving. And we need to really acknowledge that our students are actually grieving lost social opportunities around this time. So if you think about, the times when we were young, our peak social times were those times when we were in high school, when we were at university, or when we were at school. And being away from school for such a long period, our children or our young people are missing out on those social opportunities. So those things might include like their 16th birthday, their 21st birthday, their graduation, or their first weeks at university. And so because they are missing all those social opportunities, they can be a bit sad. They could be a bit isolating. And so that also contributes and clouds their judgment to make an informed decision around vaccinations or about getting the vaccinations. So I think it's really important for us, parents and everyone, to just be kinder and gentle and more empathetic and patient towards our students because they are really going through a lot at the moment.
Right. And for those young people that maybe need a bit of help or don't have someone to talk to, where can they go for support?
So for our Pacific youth, they're more than welcome to talk to any health professionals, Leva, Pacificology, or even youth organizations such as Youthline, school counselors, or community and school youth groups.
Well, lastly, I just wanted to say a massive thank you, Sonia, for joining us today in our Talanoa and providing us with amazing insight. It's great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
For trusted sources of information, you can go to the Unite Against COVID website, Pacific Aotearoa, the Ministry for Pacific Peoples, Prepare Pacific, or the Ministry of Health.
Let's Talanoa, helping to navigate COVID-19 conversations.